I want to ask something. So y'all were like picked on and stuff if you were not having sex and stuff. So
Absolutely.
I feel like that has a lot to do with society's view of it now. Like it starts young and it follows us through life because I mean, now you look at us and y'all sleep with a lot of women and, you know, y'all the dogs, y'all the man, you know, we sleep with multiple people and we hoes, you know, so
That's a good point.
that's just really aggravating to hear that it starts so young.
Welcome to today's episode of Relationship Talk with the Guests. We have some very special guests joining us today with a spicy topic, muy caliente. So before I introduce them, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, hit that button right quick so you'll get an alert when we drop new content. And go ahead and share this video with someone who loves a hot topic. All right, let's go. See, y'all help me welcome him in. Today we have my brother, Kenya Fouch, and my best friend, Felicia Robertson, joining us. I want to have this conversation that bridges the two worlds of Christianity and human sexuality. So we know there's a bridge because Christians are out here getting it in. And we know they're getting it in because we got all these little Christians. So I think it's uncomfortable for people to talk about it sometimes.
It is.
But we gonna do it. We gonna get into it today. So for context purposes, I would like the people to know when each of you decided to be Christians or followers of Christ. Like, just tell the people if this is something new for you, when did you decide that this is a lifestyle that you want?
Okay, no, I was baptized at a very early age. I've been in church all my life. Officially gave my life to Christ my senior year in high school, but it's been a part of my life, I mean, from the beginning.
Same here. I mean, I've been in church ever since I was yay high, singing on the choir. We were very strong churchgoers, like every day. I was there, choir rehearsal, whatever it was. So church has been a part of me, and I got saved very early, like 9.
I'm a heathen. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No. My grandmother was a pastor of a church. I grew up in church. My dad was the deacon in the church. My mom was a missionary. So I've been in church all my life. We was in church all the time. I'm Pentecostal, so you know we stay in church. So I grew up, but I officially gave my life to Christ when I was 16 years old.
Why?
Ooh, that could be another show. Just
long. A Baptist version.
A Baptist
version of why.
16-year-old. I grew up in Norfolk. It was a lot of crime. Two of my friends, one of them was my teammate, was killed, and drug deals gone bad, and I was kind of just searching for answers because I, had that conversation with God. Why God? And I felt like I needed some covering because I did not want that life for myself. So that's why I turned it.
Well, see, of course, I grew up in the house with Kenya, so I too have been in church all my life. I got baptized at 7, but it was because I wanted to get in the pool, and I was like, "This will be It's a 2-part. This will be the last time that they get into this pool, take me to the water, and I don't get in it. And this will be the last time my grandma shake her head no when they pass these crackers and this wine. Because we had real wine. We didn't have that grape juice.
Absolutely.
We had Manischewitz or Shewitz? Manischewitz, I think.
I don't know. I have a question about, like, you got baptized in the pool in the
outside.
Church? Okay, I was about to say, because I did too. I got baptized outside.
I got Alvin D. Scott baptized me.
We had a pool. It was in ground, but it was outside.
Outside.
Yes, it was really
They were smart. That makes kids want to get baptized.
But you only get baptized in the summer because it's not temperature control. So you can't get out there in December and get baptized.
No, when we say pool, we not talking pool.
It's not,
we talking there was a hole with some bricks.
There we go.
You get in there.
But I wanted in.
Yeah. That'd be clean because you got
it wasn't clean.
It wasn't.
It was filthy.
It wasn't.
You know what? The blood of Jesus.
The blood of
Clean
Jesus.
Nobody said it was clean.
No.
So it's not glamorous as you think it is. I'm thinking
Infection
at all.
with your baptism.
At all.
They do not advise you getting in there with open wounds. Now, so I wanted to get in the pool, and I wanted one of those crackers, and I wanted some of that wine. And so I got baptized. But I didn't actually get saved until I was 13, and I was at somebody else's church. I got invited on youth night, and some people at school were like, you want to come to youth night? And I was like, no. And she was like, we're having pizza. I'm there. So I went, and they did the, if you leave tonight, do you know where you're going? Like, if you are in an accident when you leave tonight, are you going to heaven or hell? You can make a decision right now where you know you're going to heaven. If you just raise your hand, raise my hand. So I made a decision at 13. And so...
You know that both of your decisions involve food, or is that just...
But I think, people that are out here witnessing in the streets, like, and y'all are handing out tracts, so you might want to hand out tracts and hot dogs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it works for me.
They will
Whatever.
come.
Yeah.
If you feed them, they'll come.
Yes.
You get them in and you give them a message. I'm just saying.
Yep.
That could be, if you are a street witness type of person, you might want to look into that. Now, so this is my question. My very first question for the people.
Start off with a hot one. Here we go.
Growing up, who introduced you to sex or had the most in-depth conversations with you about it? And either one of you can jump.
Okay.
Put them out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you ain't got the name.
Yeah, no. My brother he was the guy that I talked to about pretty much everything. And so, he taught me how to dress for football, just things that I needed to know. So yeah, the sex conversations I had with him. He is 6 years older. I think there's about as much difference between the two of us as there is between us two. So he had a lot of different experiences that I hadn't had, so he was able to teach me a lot. My parents were available, but I just found I was much more comfortable talking to him about these things, and so all of my sex conversations were really with him.
Okay.
Well, I am the youngest of 5, but there's a huge gap between me and, my older siblings. So I didn't have the ability to talk to siblings or anything. I actually learned about sex probably in a very unconventional way. I was actually molested as a child. So that I would probably say was my first introduction to sexual activity. I didn't have anybody to talk to. Like, I didn't talk to mama about it. I didn't talk, to a daddy or anybody like that. Mine was just from my circumstances.
So the questions that came after that, if you're okay talking about it, like, did you have anybody to go to with those questions?
I did not feel like I had anyone to go to with those questions. So my experiences taught me.
Exploration.
Yeah. I just learned on my own from viewing things, that curiosity, of course, you find a little porn videotape that mama got hid, in the back or whatever.
Don't put your mom out there like that.
I am. I'm sorry, mama. I'm sorry. It wasn't a good tape though. I mean, like, it wasn't good at all. It had lines all through it and stuff. But I did learn.
My man, bootleg. Wow.
She was into that old porn, that old porn.
Okay.
Yeah, from there on though, it just really came from society and just, me just doing my little research behind closed doors. Right. So I didn't really have that conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you talk to somebody?
Well, again, growing up Pentecostal, they talked to us a lot, meaning mothers in the church, my grandmother, but it was all, it's bad, you're going to hell, stay away, don't chase those fast-tailed girls. And I kind of learned that I have a affinity for fast-tailed girls.
See, like, I won't.
That was not a shot to you.
No. Back then, long time.
He changed me.
I changed. God,
he didn't say I had. He said I
I heard he said have.
I don't want to talk to you fast.
Oh my God.
It ain't safe. You don't want it. I heard what he said. You heard what he said. Hey, it's safe for the playing track. You better forget what he said. Forget it.
So, I never openly expressed back. I just heard all that, but I just know that I still had questions that I want to answer. So my uncle Carnell,
You ain't
rest
got
his soul.
man.
I put his name. My uncle. He was very willing to share, overshare information, how to talk to girls. Yeah, most uncles are. Like, he gave me the real, and when I heard the real, it was like, oh, this sounds fun, interesting. This ain't fire and brimstone that grandma talking about. This is very interesting. Like, he understands why I'm looking at the shapely women like I am, and that's why. Let me tell you about them, boy. And
You're still speaking in present tense.
am I still speaking?
You're talking like you talking like you and your uncle had this conversation 2 days ago.
Anyway, so y'all, let me answer the question. My uncle. And then leave it back. 'Cause I feel like I'm just steady digging.
All right.
myself a hole with.
So I'll say, on my daddy's side of the family, there are 48 of us, like first cousins. So 4 of us, and then so I have 44 first cousins, and I'm the youngest one.
Good. How many first cousins?
There are 48 of us.
That is a
So, and we're all close. And
yes, they are.
yeah.
Every one of them.
And I'm the youngest one. And so I was able to just be like almost invisible. They never kicked me out. They have these conversations. I get to be in on all of it. And so, I can talk to them. I can talk to my siblings. I've always been super inquisitive and transparent. So what I wanted to know, I would ask anybody that would talk to me about it. So I did talk to my mom. I didn't talk to my daddy. He was not. That's just not about that.
Not for daughters.
He still thinks I'm 5 and a virgin.
I still think my daughter.
With 2 kids.
Yes.
So I would say
I feel him on that.
I talked a lot to siblings, cousins, and my mama. And so, which brings me, because nobody said this, so what role, if any, did the church play in shaping your personal view of sex? You brought it up.
Correct.
And you said that they made you feel like it was dirty, nasty.
Yep.
Don't you do it?
Don't do it. Just.
Did they say until marriage? Is it supposed to be all of a sudden clean once you get married, or?
Yeah, pretty much. That was the point that I got. Just stay away until you find your wife, and then
it'll all of a sudden be beautiful.
It'll all of a sudden be beautiful. Not even beautiful, because it's just supposed to be used to procreate kids.
Okay, it's not supposed to be anything
so it
fun.
is acceptable.
It's acceptable
Okay.
as long as you're trying to build a family, and then you can enjoy it a little bit, but
don't enjoy it too much, because that's
now you
nasty.
got
Only the nasty people enjoy it too much. Okay.
Correct.
Wait.
The church didn't really play a role with me. We heard the don't have premarital sex or you're gonna go to hell. I heard that and stuff. But the church was a playground for me. I mean, we did a whole lot of meeting under the pews. My first kiss came from the son of a preacher man. So,
Wait, you can't say that without singing it. Are you not gonna sing it?
That's
The
funny.
son of a preacher man, the only one that could ever. Hey,
it was the son of a preacher man. So I just think it was a breeding ground. I wanted someone to. The judgment, I feel it.
No need, because girls can't do anything at church events without boys.
Right, I had to have somebody on there.
But we're gonna get to that. But okay, so that's what it was.
Yeah.
I want to speak on that because I never got to go to a lock-in because I was always like playing AU or something. But I always heard the stories and people hooked up at the lock-ins.
Mm-hmm. Up in the balcony, all kind of stuff,
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of touchy-feely going on.
So did you learn about sex?
No, I literally never had I have no recollection of a single sexual-based conversation with any church personnel at all.
I have to give, and I'm going to actually name names right now because she deserves it. I have to give Minister Moselle Martin credit for the Sunday school class that she taught when we were, I would say, middle school age, because she answered those questions for us. She talked to us about the feelings and what you're experiencing not being a bad thing, but needing to learn how to control it because it's not right to have sex before you marry.
Okay, now I will say one thing though. Like you said that she was willing to answer all of your questions.
Mm-hmm. But you didn't have them?
I didn't. Like I have an older brother, I had older cousins, I had uncles, and they were all willing to answer any of my questions. And so I didn't feel like I needed to ask anybody at church.
I turned I turned every lesson into, well, what about sex? Like, what about when you feel like this? We could have been talking about Paul and Silas. But I was like, do you think Paul, was on the road? Did he have feelings? I've been
I
this
would
way.
have got kicked out the church. It was really taboo in my church. Like I heard the preacher saying you don't have premarital sex and stuff, but as far as like people talking to you, nobody ever mentioned sex.
But it's like, the more I talk to people, it may have been taboo at my church too. It could just be me, because he says that about me. He was like, why do these people talk to you like that? Older women in church, will say stuff to me. He was like, I can't believe Sister so-and-so said that to you. Man. And it's like, I might be a magnet for sexual conversation.
People you would not think would say the things they say will say it to her.
Well, that's just because she's so open with hers. Like, everybody sees that. You're open. In every platform that you have, you're open.
But maybe, even as a child, I didn't feel the awkward, uncomfortable feelings.
Right.
Because you had brothers that was leading you down the wrong direction.
Now what they told me.
What a jam.
I would love to keep this conversation going in the chat. So go ahead and put your thoughts down there so we can keep it going and we can interact with you and get your thoughts, just so we can all come together and learn the best way to communicate about sex and faith. What they told me was game. They were just like, do not have sex with these boys. When they tell you this is what they're going to tell you, and this is how you keep it from them. And so they schooled from more game, but they didn't say like, oh, because it's wrong and you shouldn't do that. So I remember hearing about purity, and you get this purity ring and you keep it on your finger until you're married pretty much to Jesus, until your spouse,
married to Jesus.
You're purity ring?
Yeah, they have purity rings that you put on your ring finger, and you're like, I am keeping my body pure until my husband puts an engagement ring or wedding ring here. And then that's
you didn't get that from Maple Springs.
I didn't. That was one of those pizza churches. Okay. It was definitely a pizza church. And I started thinking, they tell you how valuable you are, and you just want to hold yourself and don't give it to the wrong person. And God wants you to save yourself for marriage. And so as I was growing up, that was my plan. I had a plan. I'm not having sex with anybody but my husband. And that all changed when I got to college, because I was like, hey, that's all I can do. I give you 19 years, so somebody could come get it. But that was my plan. But that's why it was my plan. It was because of faith for me. I wanted Jesus to be pleased with me, and I didn't want to have sex. And so I want to touch on more of that.
That's interesting. I just want to say, it went more from you wanted to be pleasing. And I think, and I don't want to speak for Kenya, but I felt like with us, it was more of, I don't want to go to hell. And so you kind of give it like a fear, so then it becomes sneaky. Mm-hmm. Sex becomes a sneaky thing. And like, oh, I can't tell nobody, but I still want to do it.
And I was super into it because I've been honest with this on this platform before, with me getting my hands on porn in the 4th grade for the first time and building a full addiction to it from that point forward. So even though I was like, I just want to please God, no sex for me, but boom, chicka, boom, boom. Like, it wasn't registering like, well, that's not pleasing either. But it was like, in my mind, if I'm not having sexual intercourse, then he is pleased with me. But we're going to get to that too. Yes. So I want to be clear before we move forward. I want to be clear about what we're talking about when we talk about certain terms. So, because I don't want anybody to get hung up on like a technicality, even in the comments, because I'm hoping we'll get some good conversations going. And so I wrote this out. That's why I want to read it to make sure I don't leave anything out. So God gave Moses 10 commandments for right living when he was leading the Israelites out of Egyptian bondage. So number 7 on that list, found in Exodus 20:14. That's a little Bible trivia. So what am I talking about? Number 7.
I don't know.
Don't do that. Thank you.
There you go.
Once again, thou shalt not commit adultery. So for the purpose of our conversation today, we'll use the Oxford definition. Adultery is voluntary sexual intercourse between a married person and a person who is not his or her spouse. So I know people say, well, you cheated in your mind. And I know that's the thing. However, we're not talking about, thought sex today. So when we say adultery, that's what we're talking about. So trivia for this is our next trivia. So you got a chance to get it right.
No, you didn't give me time to prepare. You didn't tell me ahead of time this was coming.
It's trivia.
I'm not good at trivia.
Well, you might get this one. Probably not because my favorite movie is also his, but we'll see. Okay, so this next term comes from my favorite movie, Coming to America. In this movie, oh yeah, you can be in on this too. So in this movie, Simi said that the trip to America was an excellent idea. Why?
So was Royal Oats.
Oh, no.
No.
That was actually Jaffe Jofer that said that.
Oh.
But we're talking about Simi here.
No, I would have got it, and I'd have got it wrong.
You would have said that too?
Yeah, the soul.
See, okay.
He said 21 days of fornication.
40
days. 40 days of
40 days of fornication. This is an excellent idea because we got 40 days of fornication. So, look, that was a very good guess.
It was. Keep going.
So,
I'm going to get the next trivia question. Come on. Let's go.
So, fornication is the general term used for what the Bible calls sexual immorality. So, it's mentioned in the Bible several times, and it says for us to flee. But to be honest, we don't be fleeing. Like, just as a whole Christian body, we don't flee.
I done had surgery on both knees. I can't really run.
Before you had your first surgery, you had the knees of toddlers, and you were not fleeing. You were not fleeing.
Not even trying.
So, I say that to say, so adultery falls under sexual immorality, as well as any sexual relations between two people before marriage who are not married to each other. So it's the sexual relations for me because I bamboozled myself. I really did. And I thought that if I wasn't having sexual intercourse, that everything else was fair game. So I built my whole you can't get this cootie scheme around that. So I was like, okay, I can be a good girl and please God. And I can entertain these dudes with, little touch, little feel, little, what we like to do, a little more, what is it? Put it in your mouth. That's a thing. And so I didn't feel like, that's not sex. In my mind, that wasn't sex. And so what the grandma say on the Cosby Show, you show them a little leg and you take it right back. So I was like, you just give them a little something, a little appetizer, but then when it comes down to it, no, you can't have it because I'm a virgin. Oh yeah, I'm a virgin. Oh, you didn't know I was a virgin? I'm a good girl, I'm a virgin.
I'm going all the bases.
I'm talking about rounding them bases boom, stop. Why, you said that like you had experience with me doing that. Yeah.
No comment.
Ed literally went through those bases with me for almost 5 years with a stop at home. And I thought I was doing the right thing. I'm not giving him none. I ain't giving him none.
Shit, that is her.
So I was bamboozled because that all falls under sexual immorality. So my question for you, as it pertains to sin, do you lump all sexual relations together, or do you only sin in your mind if you say, ooh wee? If you get to the ooh wee base.
You want
to look? He's looking at you. You looking at her.
He mentioned that guys don't want to go to hell. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Sex was I've never, at an early age or even right now, I've never really thought of, sex can send me to hell. Any warnings that I received, whether it's from my brother, my cousins, my uncles, my mom, was more about how it would affect your life. You can have sex and you can catch things that, like the comedian said, you can't wash off.
Right.
You can get life-threatening things.
Right.
You can have a baby with the wrong person, the wrong people. You can really destroy your life. I don't know that I've...
Please.
I don't know that I've ever had anybody just say, look, you having this sex is going to send you to hell.
Never?
That's not
a... Because we had the same family. My aunt said it's better to marry than to burn.
And I've never had a conversation. I've never had a sex conversation with any of my aunts. You know, it was only my uncles.
Oh man,
And
that's a different conversation.
it is really
That's
different. Really different. And so yeah, it was always, look, man, like you better get it. Like it's the best thing going. You know what I'm saying? Like and so yeah, it was like nobody ever made me feel fearful. And so yeah, like when I'm thinking about how wrong it is, it just never seemed that wrong. You know, and so I was never worried about consequences outside of how it could destroy my future plans, you know.
Let me piggyback on that. Like one thing we are leaving out, like we both were athletes. That locker room and that peer pressure you did not want to be the guy. It was
encouraged. Yeah, you had to. You
did not want to be that guy. I mean, you got roasted.
Dude.
Like, hey, who you been with? Oh, you know me and da-da-da. Who you been with?
I mean, to the point that most high schoolers will lie. They'll be like, oh yeah, I've had a plenty. No, you haven't. No, you've not done anything. But you're gonna tell it because you seem lame if you haven't.
Right.
So yeah, it's more like that. Like
that's crazy because I did talk to my aunts and I actually ended up marrying someone at 23 because that was constantly pumped into my head. It's better to marry than to burn. You ain't gonna be burned, are you? Better to marry than to burn. I was like, I don't want to burn, and I've started having sex now, so I'm not stopping. So I guess I better get married, which was terrible. Like I didn't need to be married. And when I was in 9th grade, I had a boyfriend. I liked him, but we had a conversation because he started to pressure me, and I said, I refuse to graduate from high school and not be a virgin. And he said, I refuse to graduate from high school and be a virgin. So we parted ways right then because it was like, well,
I want to ask something. So y'all were like picked on and stuff if you were not having sex and stuff. So
absolutely.
I feel like that has a lot to do with society's view of it now. Like it starts young and it follows us through life because I mean, now you look at us and y'all sleep with a lot of women and, y'all the dogs, y'all the man, we sleep with multiple people and we hoes.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. That's a good point.
That's just really aggravating to hear that it starts so young, all the picking and the bullying and stuff if you're not, loose with it.
Like I can't take her home to my mama because she been doing too much. Can you go home to your mama?
Right, you
with that dirty. Can you take that thing home?
Yeah. So that's interesting.
It is. Yeah.
There's a double standard there.
It absolutely is.
I don't deny that at all, but I'm just telling you that's what it is.
Right.
And it's funny what we heard in the locker room because I have a sister too. We knew like okay, we know how guys are no good liars and trying to get it. So we feel I gotta protect my sister.
Oh, no doubt.
Because I know
no doubt.
Any of my friends tried to talk to my sister, it was on and
popping. She's completely off limits.
She's completely off limits. I wish you would.
And I never told her like, don't do it. And I never told her don't do it because nobody ever told me don't do it.
Right.
But what I did tell her was that it should be on her terms. I was like, don't do. You never have to do anything that you don't want to do. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like anytime you do it, it needs to be because you decided you wanted to do it, not because some smooth talker, that I'm gonna have to hit with a bat later. You know what I'm saying? Just like, you're in control of this the entire time.
Absolutely.
And that is good advice to get at a young age. Like I am so, I feel gypped, I feel cheated, I feel I did not get that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that plays a huge part in how we are as adults. Because now it's just like, if I had gotten that tidbit of advice, you don't have to do it because they're slick talking or you want to please them. You only do it if you want it. Right. That would keep me out of a lot of situations because sometimes I'd be like, oh, I don't want to do this, and it's still like, and she say, why is you doing this? But it's just, I guess it's just like the upbringing. That's just
and you see
my
where
background,
it comes from.
and I do.
Because it comes right back there. I tell her like, no, you ain't got to do it if you don't want to now. Yeah. Like I can't name a person that talked me out of no draws.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it for me.
But just imagine, you're young. That's what shapes
absolutely
how you are when you're older, because it's constantly playing in your head.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I want to go back to the Oxford on this one. I spend a lot of time with the Oxford Dictionary. So Oxford and them said that sexual relations were any sexual behavior between individuals. Any. So that poses the question, is kissing fornication?
No.
First of all, I think it's hilarious that you said Oxford and them.
You might well went to the urban dictionary and say Oxford and them.
Now the urban, that's a...
And I would say that no, kissing is not fornication.
Kissing is not
And I think
fornication
it
to me.
depends. And this is why. I have had kisses that were definitely sexual behavior. And then I've had kisses that were not.
Explain.
Have you ever been kissed where the hairs on the back of your neck stand up and your legs start going like this? That's sexual behavior kissing right there. When you close your eyes and you in the whole... Did you just rub my leg?
Yeah, I saw his arm moving. Wake all up there for a second.
That's pretty good.
It was like, is this a moment? Am I missing a moment? Baby. So those deep kisses, I've had the deep ones that's sexual behavior. And then some of them are innocent, little kisses. Y'all cannot tell me that you haven't had kisses that count as sexual behavior.
I feel you.
With
but
all
I would,
that tongue and all of that extra rubbing. So as far as I feel like learning from porn, when you're supposed to have sex, when you're married, you learn together. Like if he pick you up and he drops you, then it's like, oh my God, you just dropped me.
And I challenge anybody on it. If you're watching porn, when you're looking at those porn actors, you're not looking at them and thinking to yourself, you know what? That is the best. That is her best life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she is the best version of her right now.
I would love to keep this conversation going in the chat. So go ahead and put your thoughts down there so we can keep it going and we can interact with you and get your thoughts just so we can all come together and learn the best way to communicate about sex and faith. Okay, so for more information about what we offer, our coaching services, events and getaways, marriage tools, courses, head on over to
www.onevisionerc.com.
That website again is
www.onevisionerc.com.
Thank you so much for getting in with us. We'll see you next time.